What's going on, people? Did someone say ship? Yeah, but not to you. Not to you. Okay. Sorry, but it's true. Next beta is going to be lit. I mean, it's going to be a pretty normal beta. It's going to be a bug fix beta because we already shipped the beta with all the gains. So this next beta is fixes and cleanups and a couple small changes. And things that are internal that we are not announcing to anyone because they're internal. Okay. So the build machine is unhappy with me. That's thing number one. That's internal, but I have to fix it. The tests are failing on one of the things, but only with the debug compiler for some reason. Boom, right there. Input.data not equal to null. Why? What is going on? We're failing to load a file? All right. Peak next character, input data not equal to null. Well, why didn't we report that we couldn't load the file? I mean, that seems reasonable. Oh, because we're loading from a string. That is null. Why is that? Like what? Oh, if it's empty. Oh, this is new. This is new. Okay. Okay. So we will actually skip if somebody adds an empty string. Okay, good. Okay. And then here. Wait. let's just get this checked in and working, and then still? Really? I just did all this stuff to fix that. We did load string here. Okay. Oh, it could come from this other overload. Other overload. Okay. S is null. Make string to load. Okay. So that's fine. We just do the same thing here. Do I use the same string array basic data structure designs in my C++ code as the built-ins? I mean, no, they're not the same, but they're similar? Question mark? They're very similar. I would say that the ones in the new programming language are better. Did I play Among Us? No, I didn't. Interesting that this is already phrased in the past tense. No more Weissman score. We will do more Weissman score later, maybe this weekend. This is not a Weissman score stream. Is the string null terminated? In those cases, it doesn't have to be. Okay. So now there's sort of like one main thing that I want to fix. Well, we can also check the mailbag. There's one thing I know I want to fix before shipping the beta, but oh, this sounds bad. New bug report. If compile time execution calls a function that returns a string array and that function forgot to return a value, the compiler crashes. Oh, yeah, this is just what is going to happen for now. Compile time execution is not sandboxed in the way that many interpretations are. It cannot be. It cannot be because it has to be able to run everything that native code can run. So it's not memory safe, and if you crash your program and your is running in the compiler, you crash the compiler. There is probably a set of stuff we can do to help out in cases like this and remove most of the by day practical issues, but this needs to be thought about carefully since there is a balance to be struck there between error detection and error detection and speed. Since mental energy is going elsewhere right now, I am putting this on the list of 2 long-term issues and we'll come back to it later. Okay. Yeah, so that basically the dude was saying, hey, the compiler crashed, like I didn't return a value and that value contained a pointer and somebody else dereferenced the pointer. And it's like, well, yeah, that's what happens right now. This is not a sandbox memory safe interpreter, right? But yeah, there are probably things we can do long term to help with that. But it's not a priority right now. All right. Let me see. Did the build machine happy with us yet? I don't know. Okay. So I'm going to fix the thing that I've been wanting to fix, which is that when we send messages to people, the enclosing scope does not necessarily get set. Oh, this could turn into a big thing, actually. Let's just start with the easy small thing, and we'll see if we want to do the big thing. Do we prefer C string or Pascal string? We do neither. We have 8-byte overhead, and it is not stored in line with the string. With the string data. We basically store an 8-byte size and then an 8-byte data pointer. How many people are in the data? I don't know, like 62, something like that. All right, I'm gonna close my screen over here to reduce the amount of glare. Sun's just coming right in. Okay. So I guess, want to make a test case. I mean, I guess I can use Sokoban for this. So the deal is, a user was doing some checking on, metaprogram checking stuff. And he wanted to look at declarations and check for shadowing and stuff. And the enclosing scope was not set, but I don't even know where that would have been. On the identifier? We don't even, How do we know? Let me go read his email. See what it says. Here we go. Okay, that's a different topic. Hold on. Code ident resolve declaration is never set. Oh. Sometimes the resolve declaration is never set, or at least is null. Okay. He sent me a repro case, so we'll just try this. Oh, haha, I renamed all the things. Did I put that one in the changelog? just straight up died. Let's try that with a release build. We could be dying in an assertion or something. Like we could be asserting on something that's actually null. So what if I do this? Yes, okay. Well, that's awfully interesting. Let's figure out why we're dying. That's no good. It's probably the clue to our issues. Whoops. No. No, we run debug. Debug compiler. Address is cd 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 ce05. Okay. Table find. Wait, what? Is visited serials uninitialized? How could that be? Node is probably uninitialized. Yeah. This is probably the dereference here. So walk all nodes. It's doing its thing. Signature looks dodgy, trailing arrow. Where? They used to work, just missed some, not all. Yeah, that's it's his bug, and yes, it is missing some. And so he's not running the debug compiler, and so in the debug compiler, uninitialized things are CD'd, right? And in a release compiler, they're likely to be 0. So he was hitting this thing where node was null, but now I am not. So I'm trying to trace that down now. Like why is that happening? And it looks like these things are coming out of, so I can assert that and see what happens. Really? Oh wait, that said -1. That's weird. Okay. So you have node CD, 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 CD. We also have some nulls, which might be correct, might not. I don't know. We could look at that. But this is deeply incorrect. So okay, we got our cowabunga. That's great. Compile me line 162. Proc.macro expansion block. Okay, so that's uninitialized for calls that aren't macro expansions, probably. Really? Does that mean that it's in the compiler uninitialized? Let me make sure. Make sure this matches. So you have procedure expression, arrays, num arguments received. Oh, that's bad. Okay. Okay, so that is likely a problem that he just didn't even notice and is not relevant to the main problem. Wait. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now we don't cowabunga, which is good. But we do get nulls. So the question is why? Why we be getting nulls? Oh, hello, rating people. Hello, rating people. Okay. Is CPP my main language? No, it is not. It is not my main language. So okay. So these are inside for loops, which might be relevant. Let's look at other ones. 301, 119. Oh, that's not in a for loop. Count data index. Okay. Count and data are definitely I mean, should we set the resolve declaration on those? Maybe. We'll think about that. So these are kind of faked, like arrays pretend like they're structs. For the purposes of metaprograms, we might want to set that. Okay. 182 index. Okay. I mean, that's not actually I guess maybe people want that as well. But that's like an argument declaration. Okay. These are struct dereference. This value is an iterator. And that's an argument. Okay. So the question is, I sort of see there's like 3 different cases here. And the question is, which of these do we set the thing on? Like, do we set resolve declaration on for example, something like this, where it's a procedure call and it's a named arguments? On the one hand, we could, right? Just for convenience. On the other hand, I mean, you can look it up yourself. You know what the procedure is, right? So like, but on the other hand, it seems best to do it. So I think the answer is probably yes on that. Is game 3 still going to be written in C++? No, that was never the plan. The whole plan was, I mean, game 3 is in C++ right now, but the whole plan was we're doing this now so we can switch game 3 to this language. That's like the whole deal. He's writing syntax aware identifier searcher. If there's a fun val and there are bakes, he wants to find all usages of T. Sometimes it found the idents declaration. Okay, so he wants to go from the function backwards. It doesn't totally matter in this case. Like, either decision that I make would allow him to do that, right? He just needs to know. He just needs to know what the compiler expects you to do, right? I could say, look, when you have a function call, identifier matching inside the function call just doesn't have that field set, right? And if I document that, he could say, okay, well, whenever I process a function call, I know what the function is and I can match this to the identifier, right? He may have to do that anyway. Let me finish the previous point. So the other thing we could do is say, no, actually, we're going to set the declaration in this case, and then you just follow the link. Either way, right, the tool can make that connection. And the question is just what's less of a hassle? And it's maybe less of a hassle for me to just fill it in the metaprogram. However, here's a reason why that might not totally be true, and it's the same amount of work either way. which is what if you're calling through like a function pointer, right? Or what C calls a function pointer. What in this language would just be a function that's not constant. The name that you use matches to the parameter on the non-constant function, which I guess that's fine because that wouldn't map to any constant function anyway in any way that a static analysis tool would know. So I guess the answer is we fill these in. And if that turns out to be bad for some reason, then we can reverse that decision later and document it. Okay. So now let me, so that we know how much progress we're making here, we can count the nulls in our test. And maybe the goal is going to be to get our null Weissman score down to 0. Who's printing this? Okay, so it's right here. All right. Whoops. I reused, num nulls. My brain did the wrong thing there, guys. Sorry. Okay, total nulls 29. Okay. I'll be back in a second. Any questions about what we're doing? I'm going to warm up some water. Opened up some pu'er tea from Taiwan that I got when I was there, and we're gonna get into it. When complaining about your buggy Linux desktop, the developers told you fixing bugs is hard. I mean, here's the thing. Desktops haven't changed since like basically 1991. All right. Like the basic idea of the desktop and what it does hasn't, it's been modified a little bit, but it's been basically the same thing. How long do you want to figure it out and get rid of the bugs, right? Okay. So we've got 29 nulls. I guess when we do the procedure call, oh. I mean, maybe we do that in the back end, in the message export. How does this look like? We have a code argument, and it's got an identifier. We could just do that matching in the export time. I think I would prefer to do that. And if that's too slow for whatever reason, we can move it. But the thing is, I don't want to poke the actual identifier in the other code because there's not just one value of it. Like, because you do overload matching against n different procedures, and so you'd have to have significant extra storage. So I think we do it on export. Yeah. Am I worried at all that one of those beta test bug reports exposes some deep incongruency or problem in the language design that can't easily be solved? No, because we kind of got past that point. Like, if that happens now, it's either at something that's a really deep feature that other languages don't do anyway, and so doing it even with an incongruency is pretty useful. Uh, or, I mean, it'll be something fixable. Like everything's been fixable. There's one on the table that's a little bit like that, where somebody reported a bug with quick lambda, like you can crash the compiler in a certain way. And it's like, that's really a bug with the way that I implemented quick lambda. When I implemented quick lambda, I didn't have a better idea for how to do it that would be more robust. And I always knew it was a little bit flaky, right? But thinking about it, I realized, oh, now that I've built out the rest of the structure, I actually know a more robust way to do quick lambda too. So, no, I'm not really worried. Wasn't the you're talking about the 737? No. So the deal is, the sensor that's supposed to, you know, I forget what it was called now, but it basically, it had a mode where it was returning an invalid like, I don't want to say this on the record now because I don't remember, but basically there was a hardware sensor that was returning like a invalid value, right? Which was then like either the max or min value of the range, right? Because it was, that's what it was designed to do. And then the software was not, it's been a couple years. The software was just treating that value as a valid input value, right? Now, it is also stupid to have that hardware work that way. I mean, you could say that the design of the plane was stupid, but given that that was the design, right? Um, you know, as you always know, if you interface with a peripheral and a call to that peripheral can fail, you need to handle the failure, right? And that's what wasn't done. Angle of attack sensor. What is the difference between lambda and quick lambda? Quick lambda, if you look up quick lambda in C#, I think they call it quick lambda there too. It's like that. It's just a very short syntax way of writing a small simple function that's convenient sometimes. Was a failure detectable from within the software? Well, you either have to do one of two things, right? Like, if somebody gives you hardware that behaves that way, and there's no, I don't know that there was no secondary Boolean that you could check to say valid or invalid result, right? There probably was. But if that's not there, then you kind of have to write your software to say, look, if we are getting this input value for like many milliseconds in a row, it represents a likely input failure, right? Because that's what this device does. You have to do that. You can't just treat it as a valid value. Like, that's garbage. C# calls it lambda expression. Okay. But like, also, like, That would be a firmware issue, and firmware is software. Like, firmware is just software that's like burned onto the device. Wasn't it supposed to be pilots would notice and disable the flight control? That's garbage, though. Like, that's, if that's one of your flight rules, you built a garbage system. Come on, guys. Tea is still steeping. What variable types are we guaranteed to have? What do you mean by guaranteed to have? Do you mean like what are the types in the language? There are basic integers and floats, there are strings, there are arrays, structs, pointers. Do I see any value in using a fuzzer to find compiler crashes? Yes, that is a valuable thing to do. Does the language have discriminated unions? No. What's the common sentiment during the beta so far? As far as I know, people really enjoy using it, but also it's self-selecting, right? People who don't enjoy using the programming language won't use it, and then I won't hear from them. So you can't I'm like not exactly the person to have an objective view also. But I've definitely had notes from people saying they enjoy using this language very much. Do I cut my own hair? Yeah, I just have electric clippers that I use. Okay, people. Let me do this. So we want code argument. Fill code arguments. This is going to be kind of annoying. Maybe not. Oh, so I need to actually, I need to pass to this fill code arguments the array of declarations to match to. Well, that would be one way to do it. So if, okay, so for now we'll do it if it's known. If it's known, code procedure. All right, if it's okay. This actually doesn't need to be a cast. So we'll pass known header. Is it kind? No, code node is in. Where does that live? Where does that live? Where does it live? Oh, it's here. Just there. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're not actually using that yet. Let's just make sure it compiles. Fill code arguments. Oh, we have more than... Oh. Right. Let's not do that then. Let's pass the actual... Is it just an array of code declaration? Type of lambda. Oh, code procedure header. Right. Yeah. So this is going to be known header, and then arguments, right? Okay, so fill code arguments. Declarations. Okay, we're still not going to use this yet. We're just compiling right now. We're just compiling. Okay, so now we have the other cases. Okay. So for here we get current, we'll pass null. We just want to get some of the easy cases. That's it. Oh. Okay, so nothing should be different yet. Total null is 29. Now we can do some things here. We can say, in fill code arguments, is it called ident? Okay, ident arrow if declarations J decals some J name, comma, ident name, ident resolved declaration is decals sub J break breaker 19 do export. Okay. Wait, what are argument names unsorted? Those are idents. 27. That only got us two. Really, I expected more than 2 out of that. But that's fine. It's progress. Okay. Let's look at some of these other ones. Make sure we didn't miss any. So count data, right? Index. Oh, well, why is that? Why didn't we get index there? Why didn't we get index? That's very strange. Let's break in fill code arguments in line 182. Except we got a break here. Source L0 182. Source file name. String builder, no. Foo, all right. Here we go. Do we have declarations? No, we don't. Oh. Yeah. Okay. That's obviously wrong, which is fine. Let's look in see the type. The type doesn't contain the names, by the way. Oh no, we're doing Bugsnax right now. Sort of Bugsnax. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing? Do we have enough information here to do this? And the answer is maybe. I mean, we could just do a stupid. I mean, this is really dumb. Code ident. Boom. That didn't like that. Why not? Wait, what? That's, I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay. What? Arguments. Count 1,000,000,000,000. Okay, that's not good. Oh, because I didn't do this. Duh. All right. I can't hit the right one. All right, 24. All that work to get down to 24. And it's silly because the thing that I just did is silly and won't do things like struct dereferences and whatever. So the question is there a better way Is there a better way? Is there a better way for me to do this? So we have count and data kind of stuff. We have like float and int kind of stuff that we're probably never going to set those declarations. Max. Bugsnax. That's pretty weird. And then value pointer, this is a struct dereference. I don't know, guys. My brain is a little bit tired of wanting to think about this. But I'm gonna. Sometimes it does find float. Interesting. That's weird. I mean, it's not that surprising just because we haven't ever like looked at this judging it for consistency before, so it's not that surprising that weird stuff like that happens. I think this is actually because it's inside a for loop. That is what I suspect. I suspect we're looking at the unexpanded version of the for loop or something. Arguing about C++ syntax. Yeah, of course. Of course. Oh no, I totally oversteeped my tea, guys. I did it again. Oh, it's going to be gross. I'm not going to drink it. Oops. I feel like a lot of tea is being wasted. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, think about it this way. We're inputting tea as fuel. We're not the most efficient about it, but really good code comes out the other side. It's like, you can drive your car. If you drive it at 45 miles an hour, it'll be more fuel efficient than if you drive it at 70 miles an hour. But sometimes you drive it at 70 miles an hour. Okay, I'm bringing the tea over here, so it's less likely that I forget. Now I get to figure out, what do I do about this? Am I able to find the time to read the forward manual? No, I mean, I glanced over it. It's just not. Wait, is that the CPU instruction set thing? Or is that something else? Yeah, I mean, guys, this is very interesting, but it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I don't make CPUs. So it literally has zero to do with anything that I'm working on. I mean, it looked pretty interesting to me when I looked at it. And I hope people make CPUs with cleaner instruction sets. But, you know, yeah, it's just, for what I'm doing right now, that's just a distraction when I'm trying to program to bring that up. Okay. Okay, that is less silly than what we were doing. It's a lot less silly than what we were doing. It also doesn't work. But such is life. Oh, whoops. I didn't put this inside the known lambda. Ah. Oh no. I dropped the tea strainer into the tea. Okay, that's much better. Now, we can go dang it. Okay. So that's fine though. So now for the returns. We'll do a similar strategy. Still 24. Well, that didn't work. Why not? One of these was returned, so let's figure that out. I thought one of them was a return, but I guess not. Okay, so that wouldn't expect to reduce the value by any. What's my opinion on that Cornell CS6120? I looked at just a little bit of the intro video so far, and it seemed reasonable. The fact that he says parsing is not that interesting is a good sign, but I haven't watched any of the actual core material yet. Alrighty. So there appear to be, with regard to these null things, there appear to be like 3 different reasons. And I just did one of them that took care of 5 out of the 29 nulls. I feel like, though, it didn't totally work, because I feel like some of these are not being handled. So for example, when you pass a parameter like this, that just wasn't ever getting set. And it wasn't, I had to think about it for a bit, and I was like, yeah, we should probably set that. So we're setting that now. In cases where it's bound to a known procedure, the problem is if you're calling through a non-constant procedure, all we have is type information, and type information does not preserve. Oh, we actually could do it. See, my brain, as I wake up, I'm realizing ways that we could do it. We actually could do it. But I don't know if this test case really has that at this time. Maybe it does. There are cases where there was another instance that looked the same, but which worked. Yeah, I mean, there might be some compilation order problem here. There shouldn't be. But there might be for some reason. Let me see. So I think that I fixed the argument thing, but I feel like some of these are going to be that. So let's figure it out. So count and data, we know that's its special case. Value 301. Okay, this might be because it's inside this for loop I was saying before. Because that gets macro expanded, there's like multiple copies of the code, and this copy might not have bindings for some reason. So that's not necessarily good. I'm not sure that that's what's going on. We will look at that later, but I'm just going to leave everything inside for loops for later. I just want to verify that we got all the arguments otherwise. So the for loop starts at 291. Oh, that's literally everything now. Literally everything is 291 to 301 except count and data, which is a separate issue. Here's my question about count and data. So those are sort of artificial. Let's, array.count and array.data and whatever. Although you have bindings for 120. Okay. Here's the deal. For this one, an array view, we have a struct in the preload. You probably saw this, right? And we're probably pointing you at these, which may or may not be useful. Who knows? But that's what we're doing right now. For this guy, count doesn't, there's no declaration anywhere. Okay, because it's a constant. And data also doesn't really exist. It's just an alias for this. Now what we could do is we could make something like this. Right? But even that's weird. This is actually not really correct. Like it doesn't correspond to anything. So I feel like in that case, maybe we just leave it null for now and you just know that that's the story. The base stuff, fill out the declaration with file name, whatever. Yeah, I'm not, so right now, I'm not sure that that'll stay that way eternally, but right now, when you say something like float in code, the compiler at startup actually makes declarations in the preload namespace for all the basic types. And when you say float, it actually walks up the namespaces or the scopes and looks for that. So you can actually redefine float right now, which seems really bad. And it'll probably make the compiler faster if like at parse time we just say, oh yeah, this is one of the basic types that we know what it is, right? Yeah. So let me look at that. So if I fix the for loop one now, so I think that's your answer is the reason it's weird. The reason it's failing is because it's inside a for loop for some reason. And the for loop is getting a for expansion, right? Is that correct? Yeah, it's a hash table for expansion. And so the deal is like the copy of this code is the one that's actually getting run. Like when you say when the hash table says insert on this, it's that copy that's actually getting run. But this is supposed to still be totally intact for metaprogram purposes, right? This is supposed to semantically make sense on its own. So why do the identifiers not look up? Well, I don't know. That's weird. But since you follow macro expansions, it might be that there's two copies of this and one of them is like inside the... Why don't I just check this inside the compiler? I can check when I export a thing with null. So it could be finding value, value.type, and value. No, I guess what I'm saying is there's probably 2 copies of this code, and in one of those copies they're getting looked up, and in the other one they aren't. But we'll see. Like, for expansions, honestly, have been very confusing for me. Like, trying to think about them and program them because of the multiple copies of the code thing. Which is something that I'm going to want to try to simplify and figure out how to deal with. Like, the reason is, so, you know, again, for metaprogram purposes, we want you to be able to like browse the code and have this look like it's the code, right? But actually, this is a macro that inserts this. But it could insert this multiple times, right? And in fact, it could run some code that manipulates this thing and moves it around, right? So the part, well, and in fact, the insert directive right now has these hard-coded break continue replacements that can rewrite parts of it. So the part that's actually in the macro is different code from this. Well, in this case, it's probably exactly the same, but in principle, it's different, right? So, and that one is the one that actually runs. So my suspicion is that this one is the one that doesn't have the variables looked up, but I'm not sure why that would actually be, unless I like did that for speed purposes or something. So let me figure that out. So here we make a code ident. And I'm just going to set a breakpoint here, and we're going to see why that happens. Get rid of this one. Okay. Do I prefer a specific font? Yes, I prefer a font that shows me the text characters. Okay. Line 142 of foo. Okay, that's not surprising. Let me just look for the ones that are being outputted here. So like line 292, we don't know value. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to say line 292. Okay. I didn't flag 0, value, and closing scope. It doesn't even have an inferred type. Where are we at? Code directive. Okay, so this is the inserted version. Or wait. No, this is the implicitly created one. Okay, inside a code directive, you actually would not expect identifiers to have bindings. That's sort of the exception. So I think maybe the deal is if you if we don't do this, because it doesn't really make sense. Like, code directives are sort of wait, really? What? Now I'm confused. I mean, the reality is I do care about what font I use, but I'm just, when people ask questions like that, I don't care because people need to focus on stuff besides fonts. You know what I mean? People need to focus on saving software from being terrible. But it's very easy to talk about fonts, so that's what people do. You know, it's the same reason people talk about editors and do you program on Linux or Windows and do you use Git? Like all these things that don't really matter that people talk about because they're easy to see and you can talk about them without being that working on any sufficiently ambitious programming task. Font standards are not terrible too. I mean, they are, but that's like, is your point to fix, do you want to make good fonts or do you want to make good software? Because you can use anything you want as a procrastination way to avoid making good software. And bike shedding about fonts is a perfectly good way to do that. I'm just gonna, the dumb, annoying questions, I'm just not even gonna put up with them. Guys, either try to understand what I'm saying or don't, right? I mean, I guess, yeah. Like, come on. Let's engage in intelligent discussion. All right. So I actually don't understand why, when I do this, it has a problem. Or not that it has a problem, but it's still finding all the nulls. You know what I could do? I could print the stack trace. Oh, yeah. I'm putting this in the wrong place, but this will tell me everywhere that I came from, right? Oh, except, okay. Okay. Okay, we're going to try this. Stack trace. Okay. Walk all nodes. Walk all nodes, walk all nodes. Okay, that doesn't actually help me that much. Doesn't actually help. Okay. That is not that helpful. I mean, it's a bunch of recursions on 108. I was hoping, yeah, like, yeah. Do I think LLVM compile time with all optimizations on is fine? No, it's way too slow. Way too slow for what it does. People are freaking jokers. Okay, so that print stack trace, maybe that's not that likely to help. Let me just do the compiler again. And okay, so this is from the code directive. Okay. But we also have, oh, this is type. This is also from the code directive, right? Wait, that was only, oh, that was only 4 on that line. I need to figure out how to time out people without deleting their messages. It's just the default that Twitch does. I don't know. Yeah, guys, I'm just very frustrated and tired by all the mediocre bullshit, and I can't put up with it anymore. So, like, people who defend the mediocre bullshit are the problem. Okay? They are why software is bad. No matter what the excuse, whether it's the customer won't pay for quality excuse, whatever. Like, it's just stupid. I can't put up with it anymore. It's so maddening. Where am I living these days? I'm still in San Francisco, unfortunately. Looking at places to go. Any advice on how to explain the need for better software to your manager at work? I don't know. Like, find references and show the manager lots of references. Show them it's not just you saying this, I guess. Try to find as officially respectable of references as you can. The problem with my talks on YouTube is I am not a PhD who works at the World Health Organization, right? So with certain kinds of people, I have a limited degree of credibility, aka none. Do you still find yourself writing the unwound functions and then refactoring later, or you try to foresee certain patterns of the design and compartmentalize ahead of time? I would say it's a mixture of those two things, but I definitely compartmentalize upfront less than I used to when I was a younger programmer trying to make sure everything was super clean all the time. Because what you find out is you do that a lot and then you realize, oh, this compartmentalization was wrong. It was wasted effort, or it caused the code to be a lot more painful than it had to be, and whatever, right? And so sometimes, so I default more to just writing the unwound functions, but sometimes I just know I'm going to want to factor it, right? It's just my equilibrium point for that is in a different place. By going backwards, he just means that, I learned a certain degree of abstraction from going to school and stuff, and then I dialed back the amount of that I use. Yeah. Yeah. I found the amount that I did that after coming out of college to be too much empirically. And so I dialed it back to a point. It took a long time. I mean, programming is hard. It's a subtle art that takes, you just keep getting better at it, right? And so whatever my current choices are of compartmentalize up front versus not have been tuned for, well, if we just start the clock with when I got out of school, have been tuned for 25 years. But, probably even longer than that, actually. Okay. This is confusing to me. I might actually just leave this as it is for now, and we're going to have a... No, let's not do that. Let's at least try to visualize. Okay, I could have an explicit stack. Okay. So we're going to do this, and we're not actually using this information yet. Let's x64 this so it goes a little faster. Still debug compiler, but okay. So we've got this stack. Now, when we print out a null thing, I can actually print is this in compiler? Make location. .info. All right. Oh yeah, that's going to be better. It's more lines of text though. Let's because I'm dumping the whole stack every How do you frickin' do this? Is it that? No. All right. Okay. So why did the new lines disappear when we're piping? Is this some shitty thing that Windows does? Do I need to have control J's in there for it not to disappear when we're piping? Like, what's going on? I don't know. It's something funny that we're doing somewhere. Maybe in the compiler. I don't know. I don't want to debug that right now because I don't want it to rat hole. Anyway, instead of just saying here, we could say it.kind. Okay. Identifier. I can't exactly see where, but whatever. Oh, value. $292.12. That's just going to be the for loop iterator. Oh no, 292. That's this, right? That's this one. So we're in value. So dot type. I don't know why there's 3 binary operators here. Oh, the equals. So equals dot dot. And then if, and then block. But we don't go above the block. I guess we only call this function. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Declaration. Okay, null value. Declaration of Minx. Line 262. And then a block. Twice for some reason. Oh, because we hit the block and then we push it in the walk all. Okay. So really this is not going through a code directive. It's inside a for loop. Wait, is this a place where we do identifier neutrality? I don't... Nope. Oh, it had the new lines before the carets. Okay. That makes sense. I was confused. Okay. So, what do I do? What do I do here? So there's just this confusing situation where okay, we are getting to this from exporting a code directive, but well, let me just ask the compiler for more informations. So this is value. So where does this identifier, where does this identifier get created? We're just going to start playing this game. Okay. So this is literally in parsing. Okay, what about when we infer this identifier? We won't get there. Probably. Yeah. I'm sort of confused by this. Okay, that's why. We don't... If it's a macro expansion right now, we do not actually infer the source. Okay. Do we give people that information? Yes or no? Yes. So that's going to be okay. So it's known now. I'm not sure what's the best solution to this, but it's known now what the deal is. The deal is when we expand the macro, we don't actually infer the main thing. So we don't bind identifiers there, but they should get bound in the macro. So if you were writing a tool, you would still get that identifier location and stuff. Okay. So if I go to the thing and say, turn out the mic for a minute. Is there any way you can buy into the beta? Wow. For $1 million, I probably would put you in the beta. Actually, for $200,000, I would put someone in the beta because that would pay for an assistant for more than a year to work on it. So, oh, you thought it was Sokoban beta? Okay, well, never mind. Hey, maybe if you invested in GameStop, you would have $200,000 laying around. we have pork dumpling to finish. So good. So good. Right now, the other programmers at the company work on the game. I'm the only person working on the compiler currently. That may change in the future, but it is the situation currently. I mean, timeline for the game? No. No timeline. It is not that close to done. Okay. So, one live's left. I have my preliminary answer for you for this. So, I've added for the next beta that arguments to procedures get their identifiers set. Now, the other thing that's happening is for for loops that are macro expansions, I think my answer for now is, and we can talk later about if there's a better way to handle this, but because those are macro expansions, the code that you get when you go into the block of the for loop is just like the code directive, and it's stuff that's not resolved. So what you want to do is if there's a macro expansion procedure call, you do that and you ignore block. Because this should eventually get you to the insert directive that like inserted the code, which could be modified and whatever. But any identifier that's in here that's actually being used should also be in here. So kind of what's happening is this is like the pre-macro version of the identifier, and you don't really want that. So the experiment I want to do is go to compile me, right? And here we're going to say if this, we do this, else we walk the block. And I think that'll get rid of almost all. I think at that point we'll just have a couple left. Let me get rid of my stack walk, by the way. That didn't help. What? Hold on. I don't know why that didn't actually work. Dang it. I didn't think it would be that easy. Yes, I did. I actually did think it would be that easy. I pretty much guarantee you that that's what these are. I'm not sure how we're getting to them now. Oh, you know what it is? No? Well, let me put this back. See what's going on here. Let's just isolate to value. Value, it's on line 292. Is that the one we want? Yeah. We'll only dump if we're on line 292. Is it called line number? It's probably L0, right? Okay. So we are here because we have a declaration and we're going to the... How are we going from declaration to block? Declaration. We do the type inst, we do the root expression. I mean, that's got to be a procedure, right? The root expression has to be a procedure. Why is that not getting pushed? How are we going straight from here to there? Oh, because you're... All right. This part... Okay. Here's something to say about all this. This is massively redundant, these two lines right here. Okay. If you're doing a recursive traversal like this... Okay. The reason this expressions array exists is to give you the choice of doing an iterative thing. All right. So what this expressions array is just what you would find by recursing down from root expression, but laid out in an array. So if you're doing both of these, you're doing tons of work twice, right? So what's happening is I took out the thing that recurses down into that block, but this is hitting it anyway. So if I comment this out, then it's fine, probably. Yes. Although it says total null 0, which kind of bothers me. We still should see 2. I think we still should see these. So this implies that actually the recursive traversal is missing something. Is there ever a single root node you can traverse down the entire program from? There isn't currently. We might have one eventually, right? But when you do this event viewing stuff, you just get individual things at a time as they compile, because again, like the paradigm I'm trying to support is a multi-threaded paradigm where you're doing this while the program compiles, right? After the program is done compiling, we could have something where you can see things from the root of the program, and people will probably want to use that a lot. In fact, that's actually a thing that's probably on the list for very soon, is to put in this export information, like information about individual modules, right? Like, so a declaration would tell you, a top level declaration would tell you what module it's in and stuff, right? And then at that point, you would just say, what's the list of modules? Or what's the module for the root namespace, and then go down from there. Something like that. Do I ever get bored on longer projects? No. I do get feeling kind of tired and like I wished I was done with the project. But I've finished enough long projects that I do know that that eventually happens. If you keep going, you finish. Okay. When we get a block, what information is in the block? We do have an owning statement. Let me do that in walk. Okay, if it's a block, if it's a 4, we're just going to filter it out here. Whoops. It's underscore 4. All right, well, that's great. I'm crashing it. Oh, node could be null, of course. We still have 24 nulls. What is going on? Oh. Okay. Okay. What is going on? Okay, let's look back at our walk thing. Hold on. Okay, so we are declaration to block to like really? Maybe macro expansion procedure call is not set correctly. Let's see. Okay. Ignore false, ignore false. Okay, that seems bad. This could just be that we're not filling out that information. Oh, whoops. Okay, if block.owning statement kind block.owning statement kind okay. So oh, the owning statement is not set on this block. So we are not able to filter it out in this fashion. Okay. Where do we set owning statements? All over the place. This is not good. We really should set it in flatten. I guess. For now, we'll do it in parser just to be consistent. Oh, we set it on the iterator block. We don't necessarily set it on the body block. No, we do. So do we just not set it in the message exporter? We literally don't. We literally never set that. Hope that doesn't make a mess. Oh boy. Wait. Either that crashed or it was fine. No, it crashed because we didn't say total nulls at the end. Ay, ay, ay. Let's get rid of this. Stack Overflow. So we're exporting a block. It's got an owning statement. Oh, we need to, yeah. I think that might fix it. Nope. Dang it. Right. So like the non-pain in the butt way to do this is to patch it at the end. Yeah, it's a for loop. Well, it's a for loop. All right. Okay. We're going to do a thing. We're going to do a thing. We're going to add, yeah, okay. Going to do it this way. Okay. We're going to need to make a procedure called note owning statement block. The deal is, in order to be able to do this sanely without having to deal with super recursive tangles, we're going to do it in a second pass. And we're going to go array. Okay. And then here we have reset, clear. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go owning statement blocks.reset. Down here, we're going to go for owning statement blocks. This is it arrow exported. This is it arrow statement arrow exported. All right. Note owning statement block. Yeah, we didn't do that. Okay. Okay. Really? Really? Let's see when that happens. It's a for loop. Why is that not oh, because we just don't frickin' set it. Right, when we don't use start. All right. Let's do it again. Run it back. Not that surprising. Someone else didn't use start. Wait, what? Did I not rebuild the compiler? I think I did. I did. owning so why did we export the block? Line 139 of hash table. All right. Let's just do this for now, see if it helps. Okay. So now owning statement is set on blocks, which is probably helpful. I'm not sure it's completely necessary because you can always recover that information because it's always linked. Blocks are always linked by their owning statement, but like since we're exporting the information, we might as well fill it out. So, because it's misleading not to fill it out. So, okay. Before we do anything else, I can do the speed bump there and stuff. I just want to make sure we didn't hose anyone, which we might well have. Who knows? Okay. So that's just our short circuit so that we don't put things into the array if we don't need to. Okay. So we can ignore now blocks in this particular case. Whether that's the best thing long term, I don't know, but it's what makes sense here. Okay, hold on. I thought... I didn't put this other thing in the code. Ident.resolved declaration is now set for named parameters in procedure calls. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it there, and you can look at this a bit more. This declaration thing, you don't really want to do both of these. You really just want to do one or the other. And I suspect something is broken in the recursive part. Like, the fact that this is all this recursive stuff, even if I just walk decal expressions, it's going to do massively redundant work anyway. So like, we should sit down and talk about which way that you actually want to do it. I think you can do it just by iterating over this. That said, we may take this out eventually, but if we take this out, we'll replace it with a utility function that can walk this and flatten it into that anyway for you. And then you wouldn't have to do all these cases, right? Like, a lot of this stuff is recursive walking, which I don't think you actually need. Like, if you're just looking for identifiers, let me put it this way. If you're just looking for identifiers, all your identifiers are guaranteed to be in this array. Yeah, let me know. So, okay, let me put it this way. If all the identifiers are not in this array, that's a bug that I need to fix, right? They should be. So let me know. I don't think this is necessary. I don't think it's necessary to do most of this stuff that you're doing here, right? It is not our intent to force you to do this much junk just to look for identifiers, right? Because you would have to, like, you know, again, we might make a routine in compiler that applies a walk procedure to a tree. And in fact, maybe with your permission, I'll copy this from you and have this be that. But you're not supposed to have to do this to do basic stuff. Okay. And it might just be also that you're missing something from here that's important, right? Okay. So I'm going to leave that there. So we're down to 2 nulls, and they're known why they are null. It's that they're count and data of a fixed array, which are things that don't really exist. Again, it's good that we found that some of these fields weren't set. That's good. I also, before you came on, I found an uninitialized variable that was getting into the exported data, so that was bad. So we fixed 3 things. That's very good. And then with regard to whether some of the policy decisions about what information gets exported and how, whether that stuff can be improved can be a different discussion. I think I'm happy, because I don't know the answers to that right now. I think I'm happy to fix these problems and ship the beta so that everyone gets these fixes. So I'm going to do some tests. Just run some stuff. All right. Okay. We'll do this in LLVM just to make sure. And then we'll do the game in LLVM just to make sure. Oh, you guys want to see something really stupid? Check out what I got working the other day. This is the main file for Sokoban. We're going to run Sokoban in the compiler by just compiling the game. This is how you know the compile time execution is robust. It's a little slower than regular running Sokoban. It's loading all the shaders and stuff. So I don't think we ever did, like we did invaders running in the compiler and stuff in the original demos, but I don't think we ever did a full 3D game running in the compiler. So this will be fun to show off. It's just, it takes a little bit. There we go. Okay, this is running in the compiler. You know, it's a little choppy sometimes. Like when it loads assets, like it's loading animations once in a while, and that's like when it stalls, because that part is really slower. But there we go. It is a, how fast is the Veni test? I don't know. God damn it. Okay. So that's how you know that the compile time execution is mature and is the most advanced compile time execution that I know of. It's running a 100,000 line video game. All right, we can check this in. I'm gonna just bump the version number. To 46, and that is today. Fix some meta program export stuff. Bump version number for beta. And then I'll do the thing where I check it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, let's just say when One Lives Left comes back and complains at me that the declarations are not bound when you call through a non-constant procedure, we'll fix that. I think this set of changes is good enough to ship. Okay. Bam. Great. Now I get my laptop. Dude, Subversion is terrible at tree renames. It's so bad. Okay. I'm now doing make. And we're getting all the warnings. That means that we're using Clang. That wants to give us infinity warning on everything. Okay. Running the x64 tests. They're going. They're just cranking along. They're done. Let's run the non-x64 tests. They're cranking along. I've somehow got more stuff that I need to wipe off my monitor screen. That's done. We like it when that process is uneventful. Next, I might mention that enum value is no longer there. Well, sure. This is beta 40, yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway. What is going on? My Ubuntu window my Windows here is in some weird mode where, I don't know. Nope. All right. Update Linux binary, period. And then we will update here. And so we also got an exe. That's great. So this is also today. So I should be able to go to distribution and make it. That's literally half your deprecated grammar rule. I don't think deprecated actually works on constants. Okay. Well, everybody, I'm going to ship the beta. And I'm going to sign off while I do that because it's also time to take a shower and wake up, it being 1 in the afternoon. We might do another stream tonight. We'll see, but this has been a good time. Yeah. I think we need to find another channel to send people to. That seems like a good idea. Let's see. Let's see who's programming. "24/7 Kitten Cam." I guess we are still at Europe time. I guess it's weekend Europe time, so everyone's programming at night. I don't really see anything. C++ and TypeScript. Why would you use TypeScript? Provod. All right, let's do this. All right, thanks everyone for coming by, and I'll see you later. One of these days we'll do a stream where I'm more animated and stuff. These have been subdued.